All right, episode 455 of Extreme Health Radio is brought to you by a really cool product I like a lot, and I use it every day. It's called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. It's called the Satori Method. We've done a couple interviews with Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, who are longevity experts. Tristan actually used Qigong as one of his main components of healing his back pain, but it's such a unique and different exercise. I do it every single day, and what's cool about it is so different from the sort of aggressive male exercises that I do in the gym, lifting weights and doing squats and deadlifts and things like that. It's unlike rebounding as well. It helps to build your chi, your life force energy. It helps to ground you. It's like a moving meditation, and it's really cool because meditation is really great, and I do it and I love it, but it's kind of fun to do an intentional moving meditation where you're visualizing what's going on and the healing that's happening in your body. It's a great way to ground yourself if you feel like you've been stressed out, or if you feel like people suck the energy out of you, or different people cause you stress. It's an awesome exercise. There's a reason why the Chinese have been doing it for thousands of years as a longevity exercise. And I think there's something really awesome about a intentional moving meditation. Go over to the website and check it out. Watch the video and see if it's something that you would really benefit from. I love it. I think it's awesome, and I think you will too. And we're also brought to you by earthing.com, and Earthing is a really awesome new technology that we have access to in the year 2016, which is a way of reconnecting your body to the earth. And we recently got the mouse pads that you can plug into the third prong of your electrical socket, and that's the prong that grounds your house. And we've also got the bed sheets, and we sleep grounded, so you're sleeping on this incredibly comfortable, soft bed sheet that's lined with silver lining, and it brings that electrical charge from the earth into the bed sheet. So it's like laying on the ground all night. And when you do that, it resets your body's circadian rhythm. It reconnects you to the pulse of the earth. And it's an amazing way to calibrate your body and allow the inflammation to diminish. It's an awesome technology, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you guys are interested in the earthing technology or Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/455. And as always, these are available in our store as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here on another episode of Extreme Health Radio, episode 455. They keep rolling on, don't they?
I'm glad, because I love the double-numbered episode.
Yeah, that's true.
455.
455. Well, there's just so many interesting people to talk to, I think, which is what's so cool. I mean, this show, we've done 455 shows, but there's just so many interesting people around the world doing really interesting and unique things, helping people. So you're never going to find a shortage. You know, people email in all the time saying, you guys have the most interesting guests, you know, people I've never heard of. And Duccio today is going to be another one.
I'm so excited about this.
I know, it's good.
Yeah, I am. Why are you laughing? Because I'm in a trance over here. I'm like, you're in a trance. I'm staring off. Man, am I excited about this.
Yeah, this will be cool.
Yeah.
This will be cool.
At the beginning of our show, I thought that we'd run out of people quickly.
Did you?
It's the exact opposite. I don't think 4 lifetimes of doing this show, we could never reach everyone.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 4 years, and we've, barely even scratched the surface of all the amazing people out there.
So exciting.
Doing cool stuff. All right, so if you guys want to check out this particular page on our website, it's extremehealthradio.com/455, and you can go on there and listen to the actual show itself. You can visit our sponsors on there and check out all of the other shows. We are doing shows 3 days a week now, which is really cool. So stay tuned to that. If you want to subscribe to us on iTunes or Facebook or whatever else, YouTube, you can follow us on those platforms and be notified of new shows. Instagram, we do that too. Yeah, we let people know on Instagram. So if you guys want to follow us on there, subscribe, leave a review on iTunes, that would be cool too. That way you'll be updated on all of our shows. Today, we're going to be talking about some deeper, more spiritual aspects of health and healing with the director of the PSYCH-K Health and Wellbeing Program. He's over in Italy, but he's living in Switzerland now. His name is Duccio Locati, and his website is like the letter I, and then EYES.org. And so he graduated from the Higher Institute of Osteopathy in Milan, obtained his BSc Osteopathic Bachelor of Science in Osteopathy by the University of Wales. Has been studying intensively biological medicine, so all kinds of cool stuff he's got going on. And through the power of the internet, we are in California. He is in Switzerland. Our listeners could be in the Congo. They're listening 5 years from now.
Isn't this wild?
Pretty awesome.
Love technology.
So thank you, Duccio, for joining us. Appreciate it a lot.
Thank you, Justin, and thank you, Kate, for inviting me into this interview.
Oh, you're so welcome. And I'm so glad that we got connected up with you. Now, you're the director of the how do you say that? PSYCH-K Health and Wellbeing?
PSYCH-K, yes.
PSYCH-K.
PSYCH-K Health and Wellbeing Program. And if you're interested to know more also about PSYCH-K itself, because there are instructors all around the world, there is the PSYCH-K official site at psych-k.com. If you want, I will send you the link in order to check it out.
Mm-hmm. It's I'll put it on our show page, and people can just go easily to extremehealthradio.com/455. Check out what that's all about. Really interesting stuff. Now, how long ago did you get involved with this type of healing modality?
Okay, thank you for the question. I've been an osteopath since 2000, and I've always been really interested in the connection between mind and body. So I've done tons of workshop, and I travel all around the world in order to know the best methodologies in order to help and to improve my skills in osteopathy. And I was studying new medicine in between 2005 and 2007. That explained the deep connection between mind and body. And during this workshop, one medical doctor shared with me a book written by Bruce Lipton that's called The Biology of Belief. And he said, you have to check this because it's really interesting. So I bought The Biology of Belief. At the end of the book, there was this strange name that's PSYCH-K, that the author mentioned as one of the best methodologies in order to work with our subconscious mind, in order to change the perception of our reality, ourself, the environment around us, and how the subconscious mind is a critical component in working in the health field, as the subconscious mind is not only related to our beliefs and perception, but it's also the part of our mind that manages our autonomous nervous system. So when we work with this level of mind, we can for sure change beliefs, perception, traumatic events, and also our autonomous nervous system. So it can be a really powerful ally in order to as a complement to the official medicine too, because PSYCH-K is not intended to cure and or diagnose, but because this is really for the official medicine, but it can be really an amazing complement, an amazing help in the health and well-being field.
We had Bruce Lipton on the show, and that was really a fun show. And towards the end of it, we talked about how to reprogram your subconscious mind towards the end of that interview with him. And he's just a fascinating guy. And I read that book, Biology of Belief, and it's really interesting because what I love about what he does is he talks a lot about just the science and the physical science behind all of the cells and the membranes and all of that stuff. And I wanted to ask you, people talk about the unconscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious. What the heck is the difference between those things? I have no idea.
Okay, thank you. So in PSYCH-K, unconscious and subconscious are the same. So we just call it subconscious. And there are other two aspects. That's the conscious and the superconscious. So the conscious mind is the 5% of our mind. It's a very important part of our mind, that it's the part that decides the goal, okay, that judge also when we need to take a decision is the conscious mind, okay? I have to choose between A and B. I want to go there. I have, what do I have to do in my relationship? So it's the conscious mind that decides, but it's only the 5% of our mind. The remaining 95% is the subconscious mind. That's the storage of our beliefs, perceptions, traumatic event or beautiful events. And as I said before, also the subconscious mind manages all our autonomous nervous system. That means everything about our body that we do not consciously control, like the heartbeat or the production of hormones or the movement of electricity between the neurons, or the huge part of the epigenetic, that's the specialization of Bruce Lipton. So how the expression of our DNA and the expression and the function of our cells are managed by our subconscious mind. Now, last but not least is the superconscious mind, that in PSYCH-K is intended as our higher self, our inner wisdom, our spiritual aspect. Actually, this name was chosen by another psychologist that with this kind of name, superconscious, really wanted to describe the wise part of us. This psychologist is Roberto Assagioli, and he's the father of psychosynthesis.
Oh, okay.
So in PSYCH-K, the beauty of PSYCH-K, the beauty of this methodology, that's not a technique, and then if you want, I will explain what's the difference between a methodology and a technique, is that it involves all the three levels. We give power to the conscious mind in deciding what we want, what we need. Then we work with our subconscious mind, that's the remaining 95%, in order to reach our goal much, much, much faster. 1 million times faster than the conscious mind. But everything under the wisdom of our superconscious mind, because sometimes, Justin, we want something with our conscious mind. That is also our ego. But this thing is not the right thing for us. It's not the best for us in this moment of our life. It's just something that we want because it will satisfy a temporary need, but it's not ecologic and not good for our mission in life. So in this case, our system, our superconscious mind will tell us, okay, please, with this one, stop, because it's not safe and appropriate for you.
With the superconscious mind, if you're ever facing a decision where you feel like, oh, I don't know what I should do, or if someone's thinking, should I take this job? I got 2 job offers. What you're saying is like the superconscious mind does really know the answers to these questions. It's just that maybe we're not connected to it.
Oh, thank you. So the superconscious mind knows everything, but it's like a parent. So there is also a kind of misunderstanding about that, because once we know how to work with our superconscious mind, there could be the temptation of just asking the superconscious mind everything. Do I have to go there or to another place? Do I have to choose between A or B? Do I have to stay in this relationship or to get out of this relationship? Or is this situation related to health really dangerous for me or not dangerous? But the superconscious mind is much, much wiser and love ourselves unconditionally. So our superconscious mind will help us and help our conscious mind to take the right decision. So finally, it's up to us, to our conscious mind, to take the right decision. But we can work with our superconscious mind and subconscious mind in order to be confident, in order to trust our decision. But we are not dependent on the superconscious mind. If not, we will just become like puppets, and we would lose our authority, our strength in deciding what's best for us or what's not good for us. So this is our inner wisdom. What we can do, and this is my passion in life, because I really love PSYCH-K, because it's easy, it's fun, it's very effective. But the more I use PSYCH-K, the more connected I am with my conscious mind, with my superconscious mind. That's I can call also intuition. And now I really trust my intuition. I really feel when something is good or not for me. But it's me finally deciding if doing something or not doing that.
And you say this is an easy process once you kind of understand the groundwork?
Super
really?
Easy, yeah. Actually, usually, in order to change a limiting belief or to reach a goal at the subconscious level, it can take 5 to 10 minutes, not longer.
Whoa.
Just one time or daily, or what do you...
Usually one time. Because once it's written on the subconscious level, it's there, because also the subconscious mind is the part of our mind that manages our long-term memory, not the short-term. That's part of the conscious mind. And once balance is balance. And we have also to remember that life is a kind of evolution. It's a process. It's a kind of spiral. So I can balance. I love myself, and maybe after 2 years, I know another expression of love that's, for example, is unconditional love. So after 2 years, I can do a balance, like I unconditionally love myself. That's a kind of upgrade. But it doesn't mean that I love myself is not anymore there. It's just an evolution of my perception of loving myself.
And I'm going to read a little bit from the PSYCH-K website. It says here, it's a non-invasive, interactive process of change with a proven record of success for over 25 years. It's a process that transcends, this is what I thought was cool, a process that transcends the standard methods of visualization, affirmations, willpower, and positive thinking, especially effective in the areas of behavioral and habit change, wellness, and stress reduction. So that's, I think, what's really cool is there's a lot of people talking about positive affirmations, and those are all great things, but those are sort of more working on the conscious mind, right?
Exactly, Justin. It's working on the conscious level, and they can work, but it's working with our just 5%. It's like having in our hands a rocket and going at the speed of a bicycle. So let's use the whole rocket. Why should we go just at the speed of a bicycle if you can use a whole rocket? So I think all the visualization and other methodology have been useful, but once you try the rocket, you'll never come back.
I know, right?
Right.
So I wanted to ask you, do you think this is part of, I know your work is much broader than just health, but for the purposes of this show, we'll probably stick a little bit to that. But we can go off in other directions.
It's my topic anyway, because I really love to work with health. So,
now, I'm curious, in terms of the health aspect of people, I mean, we see people all the time getting sick or disease, and it's so interesting because, like health, certain health and wellness leaders that are in the field will come down with a disease and die or something. And people write in, they'll ask me, what's going on with this guy? I thought he was so healthy. He knows so much. But it's one of those things where perhaps they knew so much, but maybe their subconscious belief system wasn't working correctly.
Exactly, Justin. Right? I think that you hit a very important point. There is a huge difference between believing consciously and believing subconsciously.
Okay.
If you believe just consciously that you are healthy, that you are happy, that you love yourself, that you respect yourself, that you are worthy of eating healthy food, just consciously. You will work with just 5% of your mind, and your action will not be the reflection of your belief. If you believe at the subconscious level that you are healthy, that you love yourself, you respect yourself, and a lot of other beautiful belief, very likely you will be the mirror, you will be the reflection of this. And also, the beauty of PSYCH-K is that really, I was with Rob Williams Rob Williams is the originator of PSYCH-K. He received PSYCH-K in 1988. He's an amazing man. And he was saying, really, the power is not in PSYCH-K. PSYCH-K is not the magic wand outside. PSYCH-K is a way to access our inner power. That's why it's so effective. So there is nothing outside healing or fixing us. It's a process that allows us to go in contact with the best resources that we have. And also related to the health and well-being, we usually tend to think that illnesses are wrong and need to be fixed. And for sure, sometimes after having discovered the real cause of the illness, that's very important. It's very useful to do something to reduce the symptoms, to work with the condition. So every kind of approach can be good, from allopathic medicine to homeopathic medicine, every kind of approach. But I would like to also offer another perspective, because what if what we call illness is just the needed reaction of our mind-body system to something that happens to our life? And it's for that specific moment is the best reaction our body needs to activate in order to keep us alive and in the best state possible. So this is a kind of really shift in the perception of what we call illness, because it's not anymore an illness, it's not anymore something wrong, it is a reaction to life. Okay?
So it's interesting that you're saying that, because if someone has like a tumor or something like that in their body, they think, oh, the tumor is killing them and things. But what's happening is that the tumor is the body's best reaction to keep you alive.
Exactly. So there, for example, a very simple example, if you eat too much, okay, if you eat 3 kilos of meat, okay, and you have 3 kilos of meat in your stomach, and not chewed, okay, so a huge amount of meat in your stomach. It's too much for your system to digest. So there are maybe two options: or you will die because it's not possible for you to digest this huge amount of meat, or you need to produce more gastric juice in order to dissolve the meat and survive and to digest everything. So what the body can do in this case, it can produce more cells that produce more gastric juice in order to digest the meat that otherwise would not be transformed and dissolved, and so you survive. And how we call this proliferation of cells, usually cancer, okay? But in this case, what we call cancer saved our life, because this cancer helped us to digest the meat. Once the function of digestion is ended, usually there are bacteria or other mechanisms in our body that delete and kills the cells that are that formed in order to react to this condition. Okay. And this is just an example. Okay, our system is really, really, really intelligent. It responds to lives to what happens in our life. And for sure, I'm not saying that, oh my God, you have a very severe cancer, you just have to change your belief, and that's okay. But as Bruce Lipton says, first it's crucial to understand why your system, your mind, body, spirit system developed what we call illness. Mm-hmm. Work with that at the subconscious level. Then also do something at the medical level. Do something at every other level you believe in. From the symptomatic point of view, from the surgery point of view, it's perfect. Mm-hmm. But if you don't go to the real cause, very likely the situation will come back. That's the danger. Mm-hmm. And that's why Psych-K can be so good as a complement to other different approaches that are still vital. Okay, because if we have a huge pain, we cannot even think. We cannot with a pain that's a crucial pain, we cannot even do Psych-K. So mm-hmm. something to reduce the pain is very good. And sometimes the mess of the cancer is so big and so severe that surgery is the most important thing before everything. Mm-hmm. Then you do something in order to check why this happened into my life.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want to get into, at the end of the show, I want to find out, because our listeners are thinking, okay, how do I change my subconscious mind? So we'll get into that near the end, because that's the most important part. So, but before that, I wanted to ask you, I'm just wondering, for people, there's a lot of people with different religious views that listen to our show, but let's just say, for example, someone believes in reincarnation, and they come into this life, mm-hmm. and their I guess contract before they came into this life was to maybe live for 50 years and accomplish
sure.
XYZ and things like that. So at age 49, when that person is able to transform their subconscious mind and to actually utilize the power of that 95% of their subconscious mind, is it possible that even if they do that, their contract before they came into this life will override their ability to get into that 95%?
Thank you. That's a very deep and
a little bit
and an interesting question. I can answer. I'm not telling the truth, capital letter. Okay, I'm sharing my perspective about that. Okay. Karma is a very powerful stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, and also believing in karma can be, if you believe subconsciously in the karma, and I personally believe in karma and in different lifetimes and so on. Mm-hmm. If we have a kind of contract about our life and we are done at 50, 70, 80, 90 years, mm-hmm. I believe that no matter what we do, we are done. Mm. And if our kind of karma is something that we can solve, okay, for example, we come back into a new life with something that we need to solve from different lifetimes, mm-hmm. okay, for example, past life, and we have the opportunity to fix what we broke in another lifetime, mm-hmm. okay, at this point, this karma can be changed. Okay, so it's very it's a very delicate matter, and again, it's my belief, it's my perception. So there is a big picture, I believe, that we are in this big picture, but also we can work with our karma, we can work with our past, parallel, future life stuff. And very often, this is my personal experience with working with myself and other people, that some also health condition was related to other lifetimes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there were many times where once the other life issue was transformed, and the condition transformed in this lifetime, so the karmic contract was dissolved. Okay, so and it depends. Sometimes the big picture, that's the higher self-design, is just that, and it's done. Maybe you are here for 80, 90, 100 years, and it was what you meant to be here. But for sure, the more you have positive and supporting subconscious beliefs, the more you are connected to your spirit, to your superconscious mind, and the more your conscious mind is a reflection of your superconscious mind, the healthier, happiest would be your life. That's because I am living this life. I really love my life, and I was not like that at this level before knowing PSYCH-K. That's why I'm so passionate about that, because
that's amazing.
It's really amazing.
Does it also give people a lot of peace that kind of are dealing with illnesses that they can't overcome, that they might just come into an acceptance with this was what they were here for?
Yes, Kate. This is what in PSYCH-K we call whole brain state. Whole brain state means that when we are able to use our right brain, our left brain together, and not in a dissociated way, and to be in a state of peace and non-attachment. I've worked also I've had the honor to work with PSYCH-K with people who was living this physical life, and they were so afraid and scared, and it was painful, and you really helping them to transform the perception of this step is one of the most beautiful, delicate, and noble things that we can do.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So what kind of, I'm sure you've worked with people with all kinds of limiting beliefs. I'm curious about what kind of turnarounds you've seen with people.
Different, because I have, from when I've learned PSYCH-K, I have started to use it for sure for myself. I really needed it. So before working with others, I had to really work with a lot of stuff, low self-esteem, and I really, Justin and Kate, I discovered, thanks to PSYCH-K, that I became an osteopath because of my low self-esteem. I needed the confirmation of all my clients, and I needed all my clients to tell me how good I was in fixing them and helping them in order to survive. That was one of the most difficult moments in my life, because I said, okay, I've discovered this. I don't want to go on anymore with this kind of quality of work. So I really need to raise my self-esteem, to be myself, just to be happy by myself and not because of other people. And there, PSYCH-K was really, really amazing. So after that, for sure, after working deeply with myself, I started to work with other people for any kind of issue. So from helping them in their relationships, in their job situations, about self-esteem, and then going more and more towards the health and well-being field. So in working, for example, with allergies with PSYCH-K is really impressive, because in PSYCH-K, we don't use the word allergy. That's the allopathic name, but as reactive condition. Very often we become allergic to something because of a traumatic or shocking event that happens into our life. And it's a very interesting mechanism. I'm not saying that's always like that, but very often. For example, you are in California during springs, and there are some pollens around, and you receive a call, okay, where someone is telling you something that is shocking for you, okay? Totally unexpected. So you remain without words in listening to this phone call, okay? Your subconscious mind associates this traumatic, shocking moment to the pollen you are breathing, okay? So from the following year, every time you will be in contact with that pollen, that substance, that can be also food, the cat or dog hair, so all the kind of allergy. Every time from the following year when you will be in contact with that substance, your subconscious mind will go back to that traumatic memory, and you will start the what the official medicine calls reactive condition. And when you discover this, it really, usually in one session, it's possible to completely transform the reactive condition or allergy.
Wow.
And the beauty of this is that at that point the allergy is really one small part, because you discover something more about yourself. You transform the traumatic event, so you are a better person. And plus, you are not anymore allergic to that substance, or you don't have the reactive condition to that substance.
Is this always the case with an allergy situation for everyone?
And it's very often not always. Not always. I'm not saying that's always like that, but if you think, for example, for just you, Justin, or you, Kate, or the people who are listening to that, ask yourself, when did this reactive condition or allergy started? And when you, for example, 3 years ago, ask yourself what happened 3 years ago in that moment of the year. Very often you will find an event that you will be able to relate to that. But what's the point here? Once you find the event, you consciously know what happened. But if you don't work with the subconscious level in order to transform the perception of that event, the reactive condition or allergy will continue. So once you have detected the event that was the starting of the reactive condition or allergy, you need to transform the perception of this event at the subconscious level.
Interesting. So
that's the key point.
I'm so interested. So say I have a question, Duccio, for you. So when I was born, my sister and I both have the peanut allergy. So since birth, so I'm thinking it was probably something to do with my mother when we were in the womb or something. So is it possible for people like us to get back to those events without having talked to our mother about it? Can we reach that place by ourselves with our own subconscious?
Absolutely, because the beauty of the subconscious mind is that it's not time bounded. The conscious mind is relates to past and future. For the subconscious mind, there is always present. So from the moment of our conception to the present moment, for the subconscious moment is always present. So there is a way in PSYCH-K in order to also to work at the womb level when we were inside our mother, and to check if something happened when we were in the womb, and something maybe our mother experienced and it was traumatic, it was so stressful, and we interacted with this situation. Or it could be also a reactive condition or allergy to the peanut or peanut butter that your mother had, and from the epigenetic point of view, you and your sister inherited this allergy or reactive condition.
Now, I find it really interesting what you were saying a second ago, because from the research we've done, they're saying, a lot of people are saying some of the vaccinations and shots that little kids get when they get born have an effect on peanut allergies. Remember that research we're doing? And so what I'm wondering is, like, you were saying any sort of traumatic event, and you know how kids will just overreact and just something will be the most earth-shattering, thing ever, and it's just they'll break down crying, and all you did was take their shoelace or something, And with a shot, adults can get a shot, and it's no big deal, but a child getting a shot, you see the videos, and they're just screaming. And so I wonder if even not just physically, like the substance in the shot did something to you or to all people, or if it could be a combination between that and
the emotional damage,
the trauma.
Wow.
That. Yeah.
Yes, Justin. Very often, the traumatic event of just being blocked because the kid would run away from the needle, and he doesn't want to get the shot.
Yeah, no kidding.
And just being there, receiving the shot, is feeling the pain. It's just that it can be absolutely a traumatic event that can deeply be perceived by the kid and start a lot of reactions. Mm-hmm. So sometimes really that, more than the substance itself, could be the starting point of some conditions or situations. Absolutely.
So what you're saying is that if a kid has a situation like that, and maybe as an adult now their parents aren't alive anymore, but there's things we can do on a subconscious level to reconnect with that, right?
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned before, for the subconscious mind, there is no past and future. So something that happened when you were 4 years old is exactly the same for the subconscious to something that happened yesterday for you.
Now, what happened to us at 4 years old, let's say it was our brother took our drink or something. What happened to us at that age, and all the drama, you start crying and you're going crazy. Yep. All of those emotions, where are they? What happened? Are still there.
Are still there on the long-term memory, except if the person has done some subconscious work in order to release that. If it was not done, it's still there in a part of our subconscious mind.
It's part. So the actual energy of being so upset about something when you're a little child, I guess, just gets stored in your body. Yes, exactly. It gets stored in our body, can be then reflected. There are some studies that connect up the liver and a part, the liver, the gallbladder, and a part of the stomach to anger, for example. So also our physiology is deeply touched by that. That's why it's so important in my perception for the evolution of medicine, because I'm so blessed to meet also really a lot of very open and curious medical doctors that want to know more and to be able to integrate what they know from the allopathic medicine that I repeat, it's in some cases absolutely vital, and PSYCH-K is not a substitute for that. But the collaboration between PSYCH-K, working with the subconscious mind, knowing why something is happening, why something started. It can be from an allergy to a flu, to a stomachache, to a cancer. Mm-hmm. And to collaborate with different fields of medicine, I really believe that's the future. And I'm so sad when there is this fight between different kind of medicine just because of I have the truth. Okay, the truth is different for every single person. So let's listen to who you have in front of you. Let's listen to the beliefs, and let's stay with what's the best for every single human being. I think that's the real evolution of medicine. Yeah, and there's multiple layers too, right? I mean, what works for somebody might not work for somebody else, or what works for somebody might work for that other person, but maybe just not at that time. It could work for them later on in life.
Exactly. And the beauty of PSYCH-K in this is that the superconscious mind, in this case, will know that it's not the right time to work with that thing, and with PSYCH-K, it will not be possible to work with that at that time because maybe other things need to be done.
You know what I find so interesting is about the superconscious mind, because there are times, you know how you're just going through your day, you know, and you're doing something like as mundane as driving home from the grocery store, and you think, should I go right here or should I go left? Oh, I'll just go left. And you don't really know why. You know, I've done this a million times where, you know, should I take the shortcut or, you know, should I take the scenic route? And you take the scenic route and it's nice and you get home and you don't think anything of it. But maybe all of that is like the superconscious mind saying to you, go this way because it's a way where you're going to be safe. And you, you know,
really listen to your wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's hard for people. Yeah. Your inner wisdom. That's hard for people to do, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's one of the most beautiful gifts because when you start to really listen to your wisdom and trust your wisdom, life is much, much easier.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the problem is that, like you just said, trust your wisdom. You know, a lot of times we think, okay, my wisdom says don't, like the other day, this is a perfect example. I was hiking behind our new place and I went for a big long hike. And for me, I'm just freaked out by wildlife. You know, I love wildlife, but man, I just heard too many stories of people being attacked by mountain lions and tigers and things. And so I just have this fear of being attacked by a mountain lion. So I go to the trail and I just thought, you know what? Today's not the day for me to continue. Like I just didn't want to go. I didn't want to continue. And so I just turned around. But maybe, you know, situations like that, maybe it's your superconscious brain, God, or the universe, or something that's telling us if we're in contact with our deeper selves. But the problem is, like, how do you, like you just said, trust? The problem is, how do I know that is my superconscious brain, or how do I know that's just an irrational fear that I'm
that's a tricky part. And I've worked for myself with PSYCH-K about that in order to believe and to trust in my inner wisdom because I didn't. Okay, so I checked with PSYCH-K if I had this subconscious belief and I hadn't, so I had to balance for that. To balance when I use the word balance, the balance is the procedure through which PSYCH-K transformed the subconscious belief. Okay, that's just called balance.
Okay.
And about the wild nature and what was your experience, it could have been two things. One, your superconscious mind telling you, hey, Justin, pay attention. It's better to go back because your superconscious mind knew there was a mountain lion 5 meters behind a tree. Okay, so you did very well. On the other side, it could be absolutely not your superconscious mind, but your subconscious fear of the wilderness, of wild animals, of being attacked, that you learned in some point of your life. For example, when you were hiking with your father and you were 5, you were attacked by something, and this was in your memory. So every time now you go walking, you have this subconscious memory that prevents you to do some stuff. And that's not the superconscious mind. That's not the inner wisdom, but it's a fear due to your subconscious mind.
You know what?
That's a huge difference.
That's a good point. That brought up a thought that I had that I've read or heard somewhere one time where people have this in terms of flying. Like, you know how people are very just afraid to fly. And as they're in line waiting to get on the plane, they're thinking, oh no, I have this bad feeling about this plane's going to go down. But I think what you're saying is that if you have like, if you had that fear, if you had that fear all the time, then that's different. If you generally don't have a fear of flying and then you have that feeling, but if you have that feeling as default state, then that could be your subconscious, right? If it's just a default state that you just always are afraid of flying, like maybe for me, being afraid of mountain lions, like that's just a thing that I have. And so, but if I generally don't feel a fear of mountain lions or don't feel a fear of flying, and then I'm standing in line,
that gut instinct,
and then I get a gut instinct, then it could be a superconscious thing, right?
Yes, that's a very good That's a very good hint, Justin. I think that you just shared something very, very important and very useful also for all the people who are listening to us, because if it's a pattern, okay, it's more subconscious. If you are completely confident and in one moment of your life you feel that there is something wrong, very likely this could be your wisdom, your inner wisdom. So it's much better to listen to it and to trust it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, you and I, and that seems to be those gut feelings that hit you out of nowhere. 'Cause sometimes you wonder, is it just my fear?
Right.
Or
Yeah, you don't know, because I think that's the thing, is that you don't know. But if you think about it like that, generally like someone like a daredevil kind of guy, and if all of a sudden he's afraid to get on a plane, then something's up with that, right?
Yeah.
Good point.
And there it's a kind of dog biting its tail, because if you, for example, when you go home, you close your door every time and you barricade yourself because you have fear that the thieves will come, okay? And you have fear, you put alarms, you do a lot of stuff in order to protect yourself, but you live in fear because maybe you have learned this from your parents or from the society. It's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, because you deeply believe that something will happen to you, that on a long term, very likely this could happen. It's much more likely that it will happen to someone who has a deep fear instead of someone who is completely confident and don't even give energy or attention to these fear. That's why it's so important to work with our subconscious mind and to be really optimistic, to live in a simple reality, to be able to clean our filters. That's the point.
Well, that's what you see a lot of times. People are deathly afraid of cancer or heart attack, and then they die of the very thing that they've been afraid of their whole life. Whereas you have serial killers that have been in jail for 40 years for committing all kinds of murder, and they live till they're 80 in prison, because they're that kind of personality where they just don't have those subconscious fears.
Yeah. And here, if you think to the placebo or nocebo effect, the power of the subconscious mind there is huge. There is a beautiful video, if you want to watch, about placebo surgery on YouTube. You just type placebo surgery, and you will see the amazing power of our subconscious mind also on the physical level, where people who believed that received surgery on knee surgery, but nothing was actually done, were able to walk after the fake surgery.
Isn't that crazy?
That's the power of our mind.
Wow.
And the nocebo effect too. So when someone is diagnosed and said, okay, you have only 3 months to live, 1 year to live, or this is poison, and you subconsciously believe to that, there is high probability that this will happen.
Isn't that wild? That's such a wild thing. We're reading a book a while back called, what was it called? Mind Over Medicine, where she talks about the placebo. Lissa Rankin. Yeah, she talks about the different types of placebo, this doctor.
Nocebo. Yes, exactly. Lissa Rankin. And she's amazing. I've just bought her book. I've not yet read.
It's really good.
But about Lissa Rankin, she mentioned also the for if someone wants to look for that, it's really amazing and related to health and well-being. The Spontaneous Remission Project of the Institute of Noetic Science.
That's right.
There are a lot of amazing example of all kind of illnesses, condition that spontaneously that had a spontaneous remission because of different situations.
Now, did you see that video from Greg Braden that was online where he's giving a presentation, and there's some Chinese doctors that had the tumor that was on the sonogram, and they were reducing the size of the tumor in real time, and they could see that. Now, was that a real event? It was, right?
Thank you for asking, because I've seen that video when I was at the Bruce Lipton conference, and I was shocked by that. So
Amazing,
I checked, and okay, is it real? I've also talked with Bruce about that, and he said yes, it's absolutely real. So for some years I said, oh my God, this is so good, just energy and the tumor shrinked. So it was real, but there is a backstory to that that's even more interesting, that after, I don't know if few months or few years, the same condition came back.
With this lady?
So, yeah, in the same person. So there was this remission due to the energy, but after there was a coming back of the condition. And I was talking with if I'm not wrong, I don't remember if I was talking with Bruce about that, but the key point was that they just wanted, through energy medicine, to destroy something without understanding why it was there. So basically, with that example, they showed the amazing power of energy medicine, of our that matter can be transformed, and this is very important from that video. But why did that situation come back? Because there was not, it was not found the real cause of that condition. So it was just kind of shrinked for a certain period. But as the person didn't change his or her belief that were related to this condition came back saying, hey, you have not yet learned what I'm trying to tell you, okay? So I can shrink, I can nearly disappear if you do energy or whatever, but until you have not gotten the message, I will come back. That's a really interesting fact about that video. That's a kind of background history that few people know about that video.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense because it's interesting that the philosophy and the mindset behind the doctors that were doing that were just like fighting sort of, I want to get rid of this thing through energetic medicine. And that's kind of the same as, just fighting cancer and fighting disease and fight is still that same kind of mindset.
Exactly. It's exactly the same mindset that, in my perception, and I want to be clear, I'm talking about my point of view. I'm not sharing the truth. So you can agree, you can disagree. Right. It's my suggestion is try to work with your subconscious, try different stuff and look for what's really working for you. But there are a lot of people against chemo, for example, because chemo is poison, chemo is bad, because you just destroy the cancer. But the same people who say, I'm against chemo and I am pro energy medicine in order to destroy the cancer, the mindset is exactly the same. Is what you said, is about destroying the bad guy, without understanding that the bad guy is actually not a bad guy, is not something funny to have. It very often is very difficult, but there is always a reason why the bad guy is there. And actually, he is not a bad guy. So you can destroy it with chemo, you can destroy it with energy. The mindset is the same and is not, in my perception, the wisest one.
That makes sense. Now I want to get a little bit of ideas from you about how to reprogram the subconscious mind. What are your thoughts about how to do that?
Oh, yeah, here it's very simple, just using the PSYCH-K process. Rob Williams, who received really literally this process in 1988, was able to write down the whole process. So it's a very simple procedure that use also the muscle testing in order to dialogue with the different level of our mind, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. And through some postures and some different approaches that are the PSYCH-K balances, it's possible to go directly in working with the subconscious mind and to change a limiting belief, or to install a very proactive subconscious belief that will support us, or at the same speed, because I'm really talking about few minutes, to transform a traumatic event that was stored in our subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So through what PSYCH-K calls balances, it's possible to go directly and to access our subconscious mind. That's 95%. So with the collaboration of the 5%. Okay?
So how different is this than traditional something like hypnosis?
Good question.
Okay, yeah. Hypnosis, it's quite different. Okay, it's hypnosis too works with the subconscious mind, and for sure there are a lot of people who benefited from the hypnosis. Mm-hmm. There is a big difference, first of all, because during the PSYCH-K process you are always conscious, you are always aware of what's going on. Okay. So you are not in a trance state, and that's beautiful, because if you will do a PSYCH-K balance, you will decide what to balance, and you will be perfectly aware of what's happening during the whole process.
Okay.
So that's one.
Okay.
Second, in the PSYCH-K, in the PSYCH-K process, what's unique is that there is a permission protocol. So before doing any kind of change at the subconscious level, you will have to go through the superconscious mind that's telling you, okay, go on because it's good for you, or please not now because it's not safe and appropriate for you. That's the point. And this is not present in hypnotherapy, for example. Mm-hmm. And again, in PSYCH-K, the process is very fast. Really takes a few minutes. That's the difference. And again, some people find a lot of benefit from, hypnotherapy. And if these people change their life through hypnotherapy, please go on with that, because it's what's working with you. That's the beauty of being really unique. Mm-hmm. Okay, I know people who transform their life with different methodologies. My approach, and I've never seen something like PSYCH-K, and I've tried a lot of things, and so I use it every day. When I work with other people, I see the result. When I teach workshops, I see the magic of this transformation and the beauty of people learning how to do that. Because it's possible to learn how to do this in a workshop. Okay?
Yeah, I was going to say people can learn and do this on themselves, right?
Yeah, all around the world.
Now, if someone were listening to this and they want to get a PSYCH-K practitioner, you work with people, I'm sure via Skype. Is that possible?
Via Skype, yes, because I travel a lot. So via Skype, it's my way to work. And also, if you go on the PSYCH-K website at www.psych-k.com, there is a preferred affiliate that are very expert facilitators you can contact too. And there is also a health and well-being facilitator list where there are the PSYCH-K health and well-being facilitator from all around the world are listed. So also, if you want to do a session via Skype with me, no problem. But there are people all around the world that do this work, and it's amazing. Also, maybe you can find someone to do in person. Also in California, there are very good facilitators.
Is it better in person, do you think, than via Skype? Is it better to be physically there?
No, it depends. It really depends on what you believe. When someone contacts me, there are people who just ask, okay, I want to do a session with you. Okay, no matter what, Skype, not Skype, but I want to do a session with you. So Skype works perfectly. Sometimes someone asks me, okay, would love to work in person with you, okay?
I see.
But it's not possible really because I travel a lot, so Skype is my way. So I suggest, okay, as you believe and you believe that working one-to-one and personally is better for you, in this case, I suggest someone that can be closer to them and they can work with. Because it's really what we believe is more effective that will very likely help the session be more effective.
I like that. Very interesting. Yeah.
I'm so curious. Was Rob Williams, did he get this information kind of downloaded to him? Or?
Yes.
He did, so it was a gift.
He worked for many years as an entrepreneur, and then he was bored to death about that. He didn't like really, and he worked in companies. So, and then he started he get a degree in psychology. So he worked as a psychologist. He loved more of that, but he was aware that still it was a kind of process that in his perception could be improved a lot. But it's a kind of fun story because he, at the moment in 1988, he was living in Denver. He was organizing a big workshop, and in 1988, emails were not as frequent and usual as now, so he had to send a lot of letters. So he was going to the post office, and just looking at the box with all this amount of letters, he saw that there was a mistake on each one. So he came back home and said, okay, let's do it again. He printed again, he did everything again. Going to the post office, he looked down again on the box where all the letters were, and he saw that there was again a mistake on every single letter. So desperate, he threw all the letters on the ground. They said, please, God, or whatever you want to call it, if you don't want me to do that, tell me what do you want me to do. And in that moment, when he was really desperate, he had a kind of download of this huge amount of information that then became PSYCH-K, because he was ready for that. He had a background in psychology. He studied NLP. He was expert in the muscle testing. So he was able to translate in English the information that he received from this download.
Wow.
And that's why, in my perception, PSYCH-K is so effective, because it's not something that was born from a logical process. It's not A plus B equals C.
Yep. It's
beyond that. It's really, he defines PSYCH-K as a spiritual process with psychological and physical benefits. That's the key of PSYCH-K. And it's beyond it's beyond the logic. It's a non-linear process. It's a really quantum process. That's why in few minutes we can change a perception that we had with us for 20 years. Okay, because it's not linear. We work with the present moment.
That's really, really interesting. I love the fact that this has an effect on not just our limiting beliefs and, if someone wants to start a business or if they want to, do something outside of the health realm, why am I having these limiting beliefs? So it affects not just that, but your health and your perceptions about your own health and life.
Yes.
What a cool thing.
And remember that the subconscious mind manages your beliefs and your autonomous nervous system. So working at that level is critical for the health and well-being. That's why it can be so good as a complement to other levels of medicine.
So I want to let people know your website is the letter I and then like eyes in someone's skull, eyes, IEYES.com, right? Or .org, I should say.
.org, and it means inner eyes, or like the pure eyes, okay? Eyes without filters.
I see.
That's why eyes. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so great. So people can go on there and they can contact you and have a session and be on their way.
And also really if they're interested, because that's just my website, but I also suggest people to go to the official PSYCH-K website, where they will find facilitators all around the world. They will find the instructors all around the world, because now they are in Europe, in United States, South America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, now in Africa too, in Kuwait. So you can really find an instructor or a very good facilitator also checking the PSYCH-K.com website.
Well, I love this. I love what you're doing. And I think it's so key, because so many people are just working on their health, but it's all on a conscious level, and they don't realize what their subconscious beliefs are saying about their health. And it's so great. Well, thank you, Duccio, for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Justin. Thank you, Kate. It was amazing. And thank you for your wisdom. It was really great to work and to talk with you, because I always love to talk with people who resonate and immediately understand the connection. So and it was like that. So it was amazing for me too. Thank you.
Thank you for the work that you do. Hang on the line there really quick, and we're going to close out the show. I want to thank everyone for joining us. This was episode 455. So if you want to grab the links to all of the websites we talked about, just go to extremehealthradio.com/455. And if you know anyone who might benefit from this talk, send this link to them.
I don't know who wouldn't benefit.
I know, right?
We all have stuff we need to work out in this life.
Yeah.
And be freed from.
That's true.
Just to be free.
Free your mind. I like that.
Free your mind.
Free your mind. Yeah. Cool stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
That was quite enlightening.
Duccio Locati.
He has the best name. I love his voice. I love everything about that guy.
He's awesome, isn't he?
He's great.
Duccio Locati.
I think you were Italian in another life.
Maybe. I feel like if there are other lives, I was probably Polynesian.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I love Hawaii.
Maybe you got attacked by a mountain lion there.
Yeah,
I don't think they're...
Jaguar, maybe?
Maybe. I was going to say,
jaguars?
What's in Hawaii? Is it jaguar in
Hawaii?
Or
pigs, like...
wild boar?
Wild boar. Maybe I got attacked by a wild boar.
Wow.
You were Italian, too, in a past life, because you...
Was I?
Well, you love Italy, don't you?
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
I love it. I think we all were.
Yes.
Italy calls out to me. I love Italy. I feel like...
Tell me what you got.
Such a fascinating world. The way things really work, but it's the PSYCH-K and recall healing, NLP, the work of Chris Kaler, different kinds of energy medicine, different kinds of sound therapy, different kinds of color therapy. I just feel like
Adam Bergstrom and all his stuff.
Yeah, we're just so complex. And when somebody today like Duccio talks about it being, there's no past, it's all past, all present, it's all together. We're just like, we're living on this linear line, they tell us, but we're not living linear lives at all. It just makes you really resonate, I think, with the fact that you need to constantly be kind of bringing things in and releasing things. Otherwise, they get stuck. It's like that book I just read by Michael Singer, The Untethered Soul. If you aren't constantly like gaining things and releasing it right away and open-handedly letting things move through you, if you're not doing this kind of work, I think it's just so much deeper than you go and have a counseling session. We've talked about this before.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're bringing up all the things in your conscious mind, just playing them over and over and over and over. But if you're not digging way down into this, different kind of a mind, you're kind of just spinning circles, and you're probably creating more of a problem a lot of the time. Yeah,
for me, I don't know what it is, but traditional counseling, I mean, I know people swear by it and it works for some people, but to me, that's just like, it's equivalent in my mind of just conventional sort of like mainstream medicine. It just bores me, really. Just looking of how they view and operate. It's just, but this energetic sort of consciousness and stuff like that stuff really excites me more.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. It just seems more fun. It seems more productive. It seems, like it works more. Like you're not just throwing up everything and searching through your throw up and then putting it back in the bucket.
Right.
You're actually,
you're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
You're cleaning up your mind space. I really want to look more into this. I've never heard of this before.
I haven't either. I want to look more into it too, because I feel like, our subconscious mind, it's what
It drives everything.
It drives everything.
If 95% of us is driven by that, it deserves a little bit more attention than we're giving it, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah, and it sounds to me like there needs to be some sort of... I'd have to talk with them. Maybe we should have a session with them. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be really cool.
But it seems like there needs to be some sort of feeling behind the session. I mean, I may be wrong, but if a traumatic event happens to a child, right? Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just the kid screaming and crying and yelling. All these emotions are going into something that's seemingly like insignificant, right? The kid's just screaming over.
Well, like our niece was over the other day and had ants on her.
Yeah.
Freaking out.
Just screaming and screaming. So what I've heard is that the event itself, it doesn't matter that it's ants or that you cut someone's hand off. What matters is the amount of emotion that happens during the time of the perceived trauma, right? So, so wouldn't that follow that, like, if you were going to get healed, if you're going to let that go and release and overcome that you would also have to have an emotional release at the time, like if you have a session with Duccio? Wouldn't it follow that you would have to have some sort of emotional tie or not? Because we're talking about at the end of the Bruce Lipton interview about like playing, how they have backward masking in videos or in music and stuff,
right?
Playing like your own affirmations, like create a music, download a music instrumental off YouTube, and then write down a bunch of affirmations, record them into the computer, and then play them really, really, really low behind the music, and then listen to that music when you go to bed. But it seems like that would help, but you're still not getting any sort of emotion behind that. You're not having a traumatic experience.
Right.
So I don't know if you need to have a traumatic experience to heal or not.
Interesting.
It seems like you would if you needed that to get the issue to start, then you would need that.
It's funny because have you ever heard that quote? I don't know who said this, and I don't even know if it's true, but it was something like, if you go through a breakup with somebody, it takes twice as long to get over it as the time that you were in it.
Oh, really?
And I thought, is that true? I wonder about
who said that.
I don't know, but it's just something I always heard, and I thought, I don't know if that's true or not. It seemed to be, but it could be the complete opposite. I was in a relationship for a very small time, and it took 14 years to work through, But when it's interesting what you said, because when I finally could let that trauma go, there was a huge amount of emotional release with it.
So you did have that?
Yeah, and all the other times I thought that I had gotten over this trauma that had happened to me in that relationship, there was no emotion. It was just like me trying to work it out rationally for years and years to come to a place where I thought it had been done. But I knew it was done because it hit me like it had just happened. But the release was there this time, other than, just the hurt and the trauma from the first situation.
And maybe it's like, if you believe, like for me, it feels like that is true, that you have to have that emotional release, just like you had the emotion to start it. Maybe if you believe that, then that's what has to happen, And some people, if they don't believe that, then they don't have to have that happen.
Wow.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Humans are so weird. What's up with our bodies, and why are they so complex?
I don't know.
Why do we hold all these weird energetic blockages, and what is all that?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
It's so just crazy.
We are so deep.
Yeah, bizarre. Well,
I think it kind of brings, I don't know, in my mind after that conversation, it brings a lot more peace and understanding to people in our lives or ourselves when we're so hard on ourselves, like, why can't I get over this, or why can't that person just get over that, or what is their glitch, what are they hung up on, why are they so like this? It just reminds you again and again, we're not these things that happen to us, like you blow it, you cheat, you kill, you lie, you rob, you do whatever. You're not that.
Aren't we though? If we hold trauma in our whole life or not, or what are you saying? I don't think you're saying that.
No, I think it's something like if somebody murders somebody, they're not a murderer. They murdered somebody.
Oh,
they
right.
did an action, but that doesn't make them like, you are a murderer forever.
Thing.
You're not that thing.
Right.
But I think the things that happen to you and the things you do, the emotions, I think, mess you up. They stick with you. I think you have to work through all that stuff. It doesn't mean that you're like a horrible person and you're never going to overcome things, but this conversation gives me a lot more compassion and a lot more hope for everybody, because if we're able to tap into that kind of deep healing I think Charlee needs some deep healing. She's over here sticking her tongue out at us. What happened in your puppy life to make you so upset?
Yeah, and why do you have to stick your tongue out at us? She's sleeping with her tongue out.
Oh my gosh, this dog.
Yeah, it does give you hope, though. It does give you hope because people really, like, the tools are there. And, you know, for some people, it might be hypnosis, like my mom.
I know.
Quitting smoking 25, 30 years ago through hypnosis. Didn't even believe in it.
Now that blows my mind. We talked to her about this just the other day.
Yeah, she
didn't believe.
She had no belief. Yeah, no belief. And didn't think it was going to work. None of that. And she quit smoking through hypnosis.
See, at some point, I feel like then that's like your brain is honestly like a computer. If it can be programmed and reprogrammed and things can be kind of deleted and rewired, then what is that?
What do you think the superconscious is? Do you think it's like God or your own psyche or the Akashic records, or just like the field that you just tap into, like in the cloud where you connect to this knowledge source that knows everything? Or that's weird.
I'm kind of starting to think it's just all one big combined mass.
This big soup, and we're all connected in it.
Somehow.
Yeah.
I do. You know, because it was a good example when you said, you know, if someone has a fear of flying, usually, or if they just have it this one time. But you and I, this was interesting in Australia once. We got off a plane. We unboarded. Disboarded?
We disbarred. Dismembered. We dismembered ourselves.
We dismembered the plane.
We dismembered the plane.
We had been seated, and we're getting ready to, it was like the final, hey, this is the last boarding call, and you and I did not have a good feeling about that plane.
It was just a weird energy.
And so we left. And sure enough, the plane made it safely from Sydney to LA, no problem. So in this field, would that have changed the reality? Like, had we stayed on that plane, if we believed something were going to happen, maybe it wouldn't have made it to say, I don't know. Like,
I know, because you think about the story like that, and you think, well, then we weren't, obviously our gut was wrong because the plane made it. Mm-hmm. But who knows, quantum mechanics and all this stuff, the observer changes the outcome of the experiment. So, maybe if us being on the plane would have changed the outcome to that.
Who's to say?
Or get this, maybe someone else's life path on that plane, maybe they needed to live. Like maybe the next Bruce Lipton or the next Michael Jordan or the next whatever was on that plane. And that was their destiny to become that. And if we had been on that plane, it would have gone down, and then they wouldn't have been able to live their mission.
Oh my gosh.
Who knows?
Okay. And that's why why when you ask me that question, I'm like, I think it's a little bit of everything all put together, but
yeah.
I do find crazy. It when you actually cut out real quick for a few seconds to go to the restroom, we were talking about his belief in his belief system with past lives and karma and dealing with things.
Yeah, does it override?
And settling things. He basically said that at some point it is what it is. You're here to fulfill a destiny, and no matter how much you try to reprogram or cheat it, if it's your time, basically it's your time, because that was this karmic thing you made a pact with when you came in.
Okay.
So at some point it is all of our time, but whether you're 100 or whether you're 19, it's interesting to me, that you came to do what you came to do. But
did he say that if you work with your subconscious mind, it can override like your contract?
Outcome?
Yeah, like if you have a contract to come into this life, let's say it, and live for 20 years only, and that's your contract coming into this life. But then at the age of 18 or 19, you become aware of all these tools, and you start reconnecting with your subconscious, breaking all these limiting beliefs and understanding why you're here. Then is it possible that contract, whether it's contract or God or
right.
whatever
God's will for you,
God's will for your life, can that be changed based upon your growth? It seems like it could. Well,
what's funny is I wanted to ask that question and we went a different direction.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, could working with this PSYCH-K actually change the course of your future? But then if it could go so deep, because if the course of your future was, quote, changed, well, that's what it was supposed to be all along.
It was never changed.
So it wasn't
changed.
really like, yeah, isn't that weird? Like,
I was going to say that, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, if you're supposed to live at 20, but maybe when you die, you reconnect with all the things that could have been and the contracts that got absolved. Because if it's a contract or God's will or whatever, you would think that that's possible that could be changed, because the ultimate understanding of us being here is growth, and learning and growing and expanding.
Right.
And so if you're constantly doing that, But then there comes a point too where I think that you learn everything you're able to learn in this life, and there's no reason to continue on. And I think about that with Jessica Ainscoe, where it's like you learn all the lessons you're supposed to do, and you learn everything. So once you've learned all your lessons, it's like you get to the end of a marathon, there's no need to keep running.
Right, you're done.
You know, so I wonder,
you completed it.
Gosh, how bad do you want to know how everything works? I just want to know how. Is there a God's will, or is this superconscious, the Akashic records? What's going on with this subconscious? Like, I want to know everything.
I know. My thoughts are just changing every day on this stuff. Tell us the truth. I do find it interesting, though, like he said a lot of things. A lot of people say this, that certain issues can carry over if you do have a past life perspective. And I do find it interesting that I had a reading with this lady who said that I was in the past and put my most recent past life. She said I was like a persecuted people, and they swooped us up, whoever these people against us were, and put us all in cages and things. And
you were a healer, right?
I was some kind of a healer,
like an herbal medicine woman.
Yeah, some kind of running through the forest picking berries, healing people.
Nothing wrong with that.
But she said we were persecuted for our spiritual beliefs or something like that. She didn't know exactly, but she did say I was super malnourished, in that life. And I find it really interesting that seems to be, I don't have a big diagnosis with my challenges in this life, but I do know that ever since I've started working with a nutritionist and getting, more nourished, I'm healing. And it's taking a while, but that astrology reader told me, she said, you're coming into this life super malnourished, and you're going to have some issues around this malnourishment. And you're very sensitive, and everything's your body's in a super sensitive state, super heightened. And I go, yeah, that does seem to be true. And she knew nothing about my health background, but who knows? I find it really interesting though that came out of that. It could have been anything. It could have been like, hey, you were a past life, you were a coal miner, and you did this, that, or you were living on the prairie and this or that, or you got attacked by wolves. But it was very specific to like, yeah, that is my issue right now in this life. I am dealing with nutrition and healing, and I am very sensitive to everything. So I agree with Duccio today. I find it really interesting that there doesn't seem to be any past, present, future. It's all one and the same. I think that is the trippiest thing.
It's so weird, isn't it?
It's so weird. That's why I think dreams are so strange. Because I feel like they're just another reality happening at the same dimensions, past lives, energy. God only knows. Yeah. It's crazy.
What is it all about?
That's why for people who have it all figured out, I have no interest in talking to them.
Because how could you?
They're so not interesting to me. If you actually think you have it all figured out, you're the most boring and like egotistical person I've ever met.
I know, right?
To be so sure that you have it figured out when you talk to people like this, I just don't understand how you could even boast such a thing. Even
people that supposedly come back from being dead, that was their experience, right?
Right. Yours and mine, I don't know.
Yeah.
That person versus anybody else who's to say?
Gosh, I just want to know.
That was a great conversation, though.
I want to know. I want to know. What do I have to do to know?
Well, let's just keep on this journey. We might get a lot farther.
Okay.
Talking to these people.
We'll keep talking to interesting people. We're going to talk to someone. We were going to talk to someone tomorrow about sound energy and healing. We're going all woo-woo this week.
Oh, woo-woo.
We're getting our woo-woo. Week of woo-woo. So, but I think we're going to have to reschedule that one. But
okay.
In the meantime, I will stare at Charlie's tongue sticking out of the front of her mouth.
Oh my gosh, she makes me so happy.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. That was a fun show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We got to end the show because our recorder here is going to run out of batteries.
All right.
So we got to end the show. But
that's great, guys. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you all. And if you like the show, share it with your friends. We would appreciate that. And also, I want to thank all of you guys who support us on Patreon. Thank you, seriously, for supporting us, taking the time out of your day to set up an account over there. We really appreciate that. If you want to support our work, please consider doing that. You can donate like $1 or $2 a month. It goes out on a per show basis, and we do about 12 shows a month. So you can donate really small amounts per show, and it ends up being like $5 a month or something. And we thank you for that. And we also thank you guys also for buying through our Amazon link. Thank you for doing that. We really, really appreciate it. A lot of people think they have to buy health items, but you don't. You can buy anything, and we'll get a commission for your sale, and we appreciate that. So anytime you go to Amazon, think about the work that we do. Please. Good old Justin and Kate over here at Extreme Health Radio.
Keeps our lights on, guys.
Keeps the lights on.
Thank you.
Tom Baudet.
Thank you.
So we appreciate that. So bookmark our Amazon link and use that bookmark every time if you can, and we really appreciate that. And also thank you to all you amazing listeners who purchase from our store. You rock. Thank you. We've got tons of really great items, alternative health gadgets and tools in our store. So thanks for taking a look at that. And anyway, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you so much. And we're doing our best to get back to everybody on email. Our computers blew up and we were in the middle of a move, so we got set back by a couple months. But
is that all?
We're coming back, hopefully. So
we are back.
Thanks for being patient with us on email. So anyway, thank you guys for listening, for sharing our shows, and just being in our lives. We really appreciate it so much. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog